So what we're going to do first, toward the middle of the paper, a little ways down, we're going to do a line that's going to go from the left to the right, but it's going to go slope down as we go to the right. And when we start with our pencil, don't forget to go very, very softly. I always tell my younger artists, how do we draw? They always say lightly. So make sure to go very, very lightly. Go nice and soft on those brush strokes. And then what you're going to do, once you have that, what I want you to do is what I call half a house. Now, if you make a house, any house has the roof and the walls, and of course the floor. In this case, we're making half a house, which is just the roof and the wall. So just a crooked line going down to the right or down to the left in some cases, and then straight down. So what we're going to do for that half a house, we're going to kind of tip it a bit. So that roof line will go almost straight down, kind of at an angle, like so, and then bring it to a slope like this in for that wall. Now for this part right here, we're going to do the same thing, but have a house, but it's going to be more of the roof, but that wall line will go straight down like that. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make some ovals. We're going to start off with one oval, and it's going to be more of an egg-shaped oval. See how they get kind of exponentially smaller? Then you're going to do one more, and it's going to be a little smaller than that one. So we're going to stop right there because now we have his left arm. Now, we're going to do another arm on this side. It's going to go, start off with the shoulder, but it's going to go down this time. We're going to start off with a backward C shape. It's going to cut right above that crook for the line right there, right where it bends. And you can even very lightly go inside this shape right here, because what we did right here was we made the torso. Now right here, we're going to let that overlap a quarter way down. Do the same thing as we did last time. It's going to go down. But this one's going to go at an angle like this. Now what's he missing? We have arms, no hands yet. So let's go ahead and do some hands. What we're going to do is right about here, we're going to make it a straight line going up, and then it's going to hook up and to the right. It can overlap this a bit. Now what you're going to do right here, we're going to make that same parallel line to that. It's going to go and cut down a little bit into this top shape for the forearm. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to make kind of like we did half a house. We already have the wall. Now let's go ahead and get a roof. If you notice, that roof isn't parallel with this line. So what we're going to do, we're going to make another line kind of going not quite straight up, but at an angle, and then another line joining straight, almost like a roof for your house with this one. So we kind of have half, or actually technically 2/3 of a hexagon. You kind of know some math. So now we have his fists are more like a shape for the fist. So what we're going to do is connect this line here. Because now we no longer need that one, but we do still need a line that goes parallel to this one. So very lightly, about midway through, we're going to make a line that goes parallel to that. And then for the thumb, all you need is a rectangle. And it's going to go at an angle. One, starting right here, 1, 2, 3, just like that. You don't need to do the line all the way through. It's just going to go part of the way, right there. And then we can give it kind of like a little, if you look at your fist, you kind of have this little tuft right here that kind of puffs out. Go ahead and give it that little hill shape right there. And then again, if you look at your fist, how many fingers do you have? 4 fingers, but you have 3 lines separating. So let's go ahead and do those lines at an angle. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, and if you want, you can kind of round this out and give it some curves to it, just to give that fist a little bit more of that edge right there. Now, Thor, of course, needs another fist right here. So what we're going to do is another rectangle, but it's going to join up with a line that goes kind of here, off to an angle, and then make that fist that rectangle. So now you have the fist. And if you want, you can give some knuckles to that fist by just giving little hills on each one. And then, of course, Thor needs a head. So what I'm going to do is make sort of a bucket shape on an angle. So it's going to go straight, line right here, then line that angles up and to the right, and then it's going to curve like an arch to meet that next line. Now what I'm going to do is the bottom bucket right here. So it's going to be a line that goes down to the right. The other one on this side goes down to the left and meets in the middle with a nice broad line right there. Now we have his head. So now let's add some lines for his face. So what you do always, whenever you're doing a face, very lightly, make a line that goes straight down that face. Now that face is at an angle, so we're going to make it at an angle. And we're going to do one line, kind of 2/3 of the way down for his eyes. In this case, they'll be parallel to this arch right here. So it's going to be very, very broad, very soft. Now we have his eye line. Now we need a nose line. It's going to be right smack in the middle. And then right smack in the middle. And then another one right underneath there for the mouth. We're very, very light. I'm going to start off with the nose, which is basically just a triangle. Just that. 2/3 of the triangle. You don't need that bottom part. Then right here, keep that line there. Keep that middle line there. Give him a little bit bold on this line to give him a mouth, and then one line underneath. So now we have the nose, mouth, and a bottom lip actually right there. Underneath that bottom lip, which is just that line right here, just a little tiny arch. Little teeny tiny arch, a little baby arch. Oh, adorable. And now we're going to give him his eye lines, which is basically just a check mark here above that one. Actually, upside down check mark to be precise. Right there. And then another one for his eyebrows, going the opposite direction where the left part is raised. Then here, underneath it, you can make those lines a little bit more bold where his eyes would be. And if you want, you can give him just a little bit, just a hint of a dot right there for his pupils. And then just another tiny thinner line underneath each one. We're going to take our eraser, erase all those lines, the lines that we don't need anymore, our guidelines basically. Now we see that he can see, we see that he can smell, we see that he can talk, but Thor cannot hear. So let's go ahead and give him 2 ears. What's that? Just one line on the side, and then it'll join back with the rest of his face. The line that just curves in right there. And now Thor does need a helmet, so I'm going to go ahead and round this top part out. There we go. And he also needs some hair there because right now he's kind of looking a little like Mr. Clean. Don't know who that is? Ask your parents. If they don't know who that is, you might want to get some Mr. Clean in your house. Now, go ahead and make a line that goes down from that helmet to that ear, and then another one to that ear. Now he has kind of sideburns, but not quite. At least you can see a hint of his hair on the sides of his face. So what we're going to do next is give him actual long, flowing, cascading hair that would belong in any Vidal Sassoon commercial in the 1980s. So what we're going to do first is one curved line, like a long S. And then you're going to mimic just that hill right there. So now you have a little flare for the hair right there, and then give him a little hill that goes all the way to his shoulder right here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now, Thor could use some facial hair too. So what I'm going to do is give him an arch right here, starting right where the nose is, then not quite meeting all the way to the side. We're going to do the same thing on this side. and then mimic that line from the point. Then I'm going to mimic this line, this arch right here, and meet back up with it. Then meet up with that hook right there. Then all we have to do is bring this line back up here, this line on the curve up here. Now Thor has a beard. If you want, you can give him some thicker eyebrows by just mimicking the lines that we already made for the eyebrows. And Thor also wouldn't be Thor without his winged helmet. You don't see those in the movies, but you do see them in certain other forms of media. So what we're going to do is make one line like two antennas. 1, 2, curve them up. 1, 2, give them wings. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome, awesome. Let's go ahead and erase all the inside of those arms. Right here. So now we have the arms here, arms there. Let's go ahead and give them a belt. Nice little arch here. Even give a little rectangle here for the belt. Then part for where his legs would be. With this part, you can turn into a pentagon, or actually a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now make the legs, if you can reach all the way to the bottom, just basically 2 lines. And then Thor would not be Thor without his trusty magical hammer, Mjolnir. So let's go ahead and do a line that mimics this line, going parallel, going through it very lightly. 1, you can even skip that part right there. And another one that mimics that line here. Draw a rectangle at an angle. A rectangle at an angle. I'm a poet and I don't know it. And then an X through that rectangle. Then mimic those lines. Then close that off. And now, of course, you have Mjolnir. But if you want to add some special effects, do a little George Lucas to it. I want you to take your pencil in your opposite drawing hand. If you're right-handed, put it in your left hand. If you're left-handed, put it in your right hand. So then I want you to take a line and try and do a kind of a jagged line going down till it almost meets that hammer. Then do the same thing on that side. Try and mimic it, then go all the way around, almost as if you're drawing like sun flares, because that would be the lightning hitting the hammer. And then join it back up with that line that you made there. The reason why I say to do it with your left hand or your opposite drawing hand is because when you do it with your right hand, if I were to just tell you just draw lightning and make it all nice and jagged, it might look more like a flower. That way, it has more of a free edge to it. And now you can decorate your Thor to look whatever way you want it to look like. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. You just did Thor. Congratulations, good job, and give yourselves a pat on the back.